Okay, so I'm only a few days into December, and as an American living in Norway, I'm already experiencing things I've never seen my entire life back in the US. Now, one thing I always hear is that Scandinavia is known for some of the coldest, darkest winters. And when I first got here, I didn't think much of that. I always heard it's going to be dark. Everyone I talked to told me it's going to be dark and cold, and it's definitely a big change from California. And I always kind of brushed it off. But now, since it's December, I have definitely realized that they are correct because it gets dark at 3 p.m., which to a lot of you guys is probably not that crazy, but coming from California, that is a massive change. And then the sun rises at 9 a.m., which I still cannot believe that part because that is a crazy time for the sun to be rising. I wake up and it's still dark outside, right? How crazy is that? But I think something that saves this is the cozy lights and decorations everywhere, right? Because every time I'm walking around, all you see is these beautiful lights all around you. You see stars in the windows, you see trees, Christmas trees, and I think that's what makes it absolutely beautiful. And I think if it was light outside, those decorations definitely wouldn't be as nice. So I think having those is something that really helps me with the darkness because in the US, in California, I never really had any lights out because one, it doesn't feel like Christmas there, right? The vibe is just so different because it never snows, it never even rains. It's just sunny all the time and it's pretty warm. So definitely no need for decorations. But I think this is something that's going to really get me through the winter is just all the beautiful lights outside and in the houses. Now, speaking of the atmosphere, the Christmas atmosphere in Norway is unlike anything I've ever experienced. So in California, winter is not really a thing. People don't really decorate that much. There's no lights really because one, it doesn't snow. Two, it doesn't really get cold. And three, it's just something that people don't really do, right? I think in other cities where there's more snow and it's colder, yes, people do that. But in Norway, this is kind of my first time experiencing a true Christmas, right? With snow and with decorations. And I think it is absolutely beautiful, right? It is so calm on the street, so quiet. Everyone is so peaceful and there's just so many beautiful decorations out. And this is very different because I have been to New York for Christmas and New York during Christmas is the complete opposite, right? Super loud, super packed, rushed. I mean, it just feels so overstimulating a lot of the time. So sometimes I have to kind of leave New York and be like, okay, this is too much for me. Like, I'll just go back to my hotel for a bit and then I'll go back to the city because it's just so stressful. So I think that the Christmas atmosphere here in Norway is just unbelievable. And for my first Christmas, true Christmas, I think it's honestly amazing. And yes, while the US does consume the most and buy the most during Christmas, I think Norway is extremely passionate about Christmas because another thing about the environment is you just see so many decorations in so many different places. For example, on all the trams, they have lights all on the top, which I've never seen it. That just looks so cool, right? And I think you can tell Norwegians take Christmas very seriously. They're decorating, they're changing outfits, they're calm, they're getting ready. It's just a very big holiday for Norwegians, I feel like. And that's great because I've never really experienced a true Christmas. So I think this is a great place to be, especially since it snows, which I can't wait for. The snow hasn't come yet, hoping it comes soon. But yeah, I think Norwegians are very, very passionate about their Christmas. It shows in the city. It shows in all the details, right? Like stars in all the cafes. They have lights around all the cafe doors, these stars all the way inside. It's just so many decorations everywhere. And I'd never really seen that in the US, really. Stores never had like decorations as nice as here in Norway. That's another point I want to talk about. Now, something I also did was I actually went to my first Christmas market here in Norway, and honestly, my first one ever. And it was like stepping into a fairy tale. Now, there's a couple things I'm going to talk about. The first one being there were so many different food stalls, right? I mean, a whole line of just different booths with so many different foods, local Norwegian foods, international foods. It was amazing to see. And there's just so many options. So that was something that was really cool. And the next thing is just the vibe of it, right? There was so many people just walking around, eating food, enjoying themselves. There was an ice skating rink. There was this big wheel, which basically you pay a little bit of money. I think it's like $4, $4 USD. And there's this big wheel, right? And basically you'll pick a number. I think it's like 1 to 100. And you'll buy certain numbers. And then they'll spin the wheel. They'll wait for people to buy more numbers. And then if your number gets right, if you get it right, if it lands on your number, you get this huge chocolate box with like many chocolates inside. And this was so sad because I was so close to winning. I bought number 27 and they picked number 28. So that was very unfortunate. But I think that was really cool to experience. And then they also have a huge Ferris wheel, which you can go on and see the views of the city, which I did not do, but hey, maybe I'll do it next time. And I think there's just so many different activities to do. There was a section for kids. It was just amazing because I never experienced a Christmas market in my life. So I think it was great to have my first one here in Europe. Now, something I would also like to highlight about the Christmas market is how many businesses there were local to Norway. And they were selling a variety of different things, from jewelry to moomin to honey to sausages to trolls to practically anything you could think of. And I thought it was really interesting to just walk by those booths and see all the different things they were selling, because it's cool to see what other countries are selling, especially in a Christmas market, you know, being my first time. So that was really cool. And then the last thing I want to mention about this is there is a drink there that is called glug, that apparently a lot of Norwegians drink. And basically it is mulled wine with spices, with raisins, and with almonds. Now, I did not try that, but definitely I will try it during Christmas here in Norway. So yeah, I thought that sounds really delicious, right? That drink sounds very, very delicious. Let me know in the comments if you guys have tried that, or you probably have, but let me know what you thought about it and how it tastes. So that was another thing I want to add about the Christmas market. And even though it's only early December, I've already started to learn some of Norway's Christmas traditions, starting with the first one, the Advent calendar. Now, since living in the US, I had never heard about or even seen an Advent calendar until coming to Norway. And I was fascinated to figure out how many different options there are of Advent calendars. Now, the one I got is a chocolate one, so I'm going to pop up a picture right here as you can see. So look, it's really festive. It's really cool. There's a Santa Claus. I think it's a great way of getting ready for the Christmas spirit. You know, you open a new little slot, as you can see, every single day until Christmas. And I think it's just amazing, right? It gives you something to be excited about when you wake up in the mornings. But yeah, that's the first tradition. Now, the next tradition I've picked up on is drinking Christmas soda. Now, next to me here, I do have one that's slightly drank from, but this is what it looks like. This is at least the glass one. I've seen one in cans. I've seen one in many different varieties, but this is something I've seen in the stores so much now, all throughout the stores. And I've never heard about this until coming to Norway. Christmas soda, right? Like in the US, we definitely do not have that. We just have probably Coke and Fanta and all those sodas. But Christmas soda, I think it's delicious. Now, there's a lot of mixed opinions on which flavor or which type is the best. I know that's true because I've tried both and I really do like them. It honestly tastes very good and it does get me in the Christmas spirit and reminds me of Christmas because look, they have little Santa on here. They have so many cool little designs on the bottle. So I think this is a really cool thing to be doing and to be drinking because it tastes amazing. And yeah. All right. And the last tradition that I've started to do and pick up on is the Advent calendar Sunday, but for candles. So in Norway, every Sunday, people will light a candle as a way to count down towards Christmas. And I think this is such an amazing way to do it. So cozy, so warm. It really enhances the vibe of Christmas. And right here, I have one next to me. So I'll light one of these every Sunday. Or I have another candle right here. 1 second. This one right here, which is really cool. They smell amazing. Wow, this one smells really good. So I think this is a great way to count down Christmas because in the US, I never really lit candles, right? People don't do that. But in Norway, I feel like there's so many small details that Norwegians do to get themselves in the mood for Christmas. And especially when you turn off all your lights, you light your candle, you have your Christmas tree on, your star in the window, that just really enhances the entire vibe of Christmas. So this is a habit that I will definitely be doing every Sunday until Christmas because it's just an amazing, calm, fun thing to do. So yeah. That is the last tradition that I learned. And you know, I think there's something so special about the Christmas in Norway. It is my first time experiencing a true Christmas, you know, with snow, with decorations. And the way Norway does it is unlike any other place I've seen because they're just so passionate. And you can tell that they love Christmas from the decorations that they put around to just how the city is. It's just so beautiful, honestly. It's amazing to experience. And even though I'm thousands of miles away from home, I couldn't imagine a better place to be spending Christmas. And I can't wait for all the amazing activities that come with the snow when the snow does eventually fall. So yeah, I think Norway Christmas is just something you can't really explain. Yes, you can say it's the decorations, you can say it's the people, But it's more than that. It feels like an entire community coming together and celebrating one of the best holidays of the year. And that's something that I'll never get over. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, have the best day, night, morning. Whenever you're watching this, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.